You're watching TVC Breakfast. Experts in the agricultural sector are calling on the federal government to include information and communication technology in agricultural practices.
They believe this will open up avenues for employment in the sector. Mayowa Kwato reports.
Information is key ingredient in agriculture. For decades, farmers have depended on traditional means of gathering information they need.
They normally detect when the breeze, even if they are not learned, when the breeze started blowing from the north to the south, they say, rain is about. And immediately rainfall, they will go in and then till the soil.
Information and communication technology in agriculture, also known as e-agriculture, focuses on the enhancement through improved information and communication processes. This orange farmer believes ICT would be a crucial addition to tending his orchard.
Like me, there's no information, no sensitization. I just started on my orange farm on my own because I grew up where there was people that was producing orange. So then I see how they have been getting money. From there, I also copy from them.
ICT includes devices, networks, mobile services, and applications. These applications are made to compile, curate, validate, and disseminate information to the farmers. A professor of Agric Extension and Development Communication speaks on the need to train farmers on how to use information and communication technology for production.
We have insufficient number of extension agents to liaise with farmers. 2, farmer training is virtually non-existent, except in a few states that are trying. I know Kano used to try, Kaduna tried before, but I think they all collapsed now.
He also believes there is need to compile this data through a farmer-friendly medium.
Even in the language they understand. If you are demonstrating, take this one and put on top of this. You say it in the native language, you understand.
Well, joining me now to talk about this is agricultural expert and entrepreneur John Akirele. It's good to see you again, John. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Right, talking about this ICT penetration in agriculture, what's your experience?
It's been a nice experience for me. Why? Because I have a background in ICT and social media marketing. So, to a large extent, that has helped me to get more knowledge in terms of training and all of that, and also exposure to prospective customers or clients, so to say.
So that's your background, really. So it's just like an asset now that you're in Agric.
Yeah.
But for the average farmer now, how accessible is ICT to him or her? This is a country where we also have challenges regarding ICT penetration in the rural and other parts of the country. So what are the challenges for the farmer?
The challenges are enormous. First of all is electricity, because for you to talk about ICT, you talk about internet, you talk about good power supply to power all that you have in case of your gadget, your computer, and all of that. Now, an average farmer, there's also another part of ignorance, okay, in terms of education. An average farmer in the rural settlement does not know how to read or write, and so for them to operate this gadget gives issue. So the government needs to do a lot in terms of educating the rural farmers and also building infrastructures, ICT infrastructure, and help them get adequate and timely information as to their farming practices. And that will increase yield and productivity, and also create jobs.
Create jobs, absolutely. Then talking about the value chain, we always associate agriculture now with enormous potential in the value chain. How will ICT enhance this?
Good. ICT has a lot of ways to enhance what you just talked about. Now, number one is in terms of pre-harvest.
From the base, okay.
Yeah. In terms of weather, you get to know when the rain is to fall. You get to know the humidity level. You get to know the direction of wind, and that will help you to plan your planting process. Now, even while you are done planting, when it comes to fertilization, when it comes to irrigation, ICT can actually help you to know the extent at which each crop needs the water that which you have to put. Lastly is that post-harvest, that is when you talk about processing, with your ICT, you are very sure that you have things that will help you process easier. Then another thing is exposure to market and final consumers.
John, let me interrupt you there, because an average farmer who happens to be watching now, not the youth like us now, would just be like, these are age-long practices. How do I need a phone or a computer to tell me when is the best time to plant my crops? I mean, I know this already. So how do you deal with cultural perceptions, age-long practices? These things have already been passed on to them from generation to generation. So how will ICT help?
I think an average farmer will always want to listen to you when you talk to them as far as concern their farming practices. So the point where you look at cultural backgrounds, you look at farmers' perception is a big problem that ICT can help solve. Now, when you tell a farmer, if you plant this using your traditional way on a plot of land, you get this yield. When you introduce ICT to it, this yield will be better and it will increase. Every farmer wants increase, they want profit. So when they say that it's profitable to them, they'll give you a listening ear. And once they try it out and say that it worked out, then you see that productivity is on the high and everybody's smiling.
Well, that's good. We'll end on that positive note. John Akirile, thank you so much for your insights.
Thank you for having me.
You're watching TVC Breakfast. Now, experts in the agricultural sector are calling on the federal government to include information and communication technology in agricultural practices.
They believe this will open up avenues for employment in the sector, as TVC News' Maiwa Kwato reports.
Information is key ingredient in agriculture. For decades, farmers have depended on traditional means of gathering information they need.
They normally detect when the breeze, even if they are not learned, when the breeze started blowing from the north to the south, they say, rain is about. And immediately rainfall, they will go in and then till the soil.
Information and communication technology in agriculture, also known as e-agriculture, focuses on the enhancement through improved information and communication processes. This orange farmer believes ICT would be a crucial addition to tending his orchard.
Like me, there's no information, no sensitization. I just started on my orange farm on my own because I grew up where there was people that was producing orange. So then I see how they have been getting money. From there, I also copy from them.
ICT includes devices, networks, mobile services, and applications. These applications are made to compile, curate, validate, and disseminate information to the farmers. A professor of Agric Extension and Development Communication speaks on the need to train farmers on how to use information and communication technology for production.
We have insufficient number of extension agents to liaise with farmers. 2, farmer training is virtually non-existent, except in a few states that are trying. I know Kano used to try, Kaduna tried before, but I think they will collapse now.
He also believes there is need to compile this data through a farmer-friendly medium.
Even in the language they understand. If you are demonstrating, take this one and put on top of this, you say it in the native language, you understand.
E-agriculture interventions have been developed and tested around the world to help agriculturists improve their livelihood through increased agricultural productivity and income. And it is expected that Nigeria as well adopt this method. Mayowa Okwato, TVC News, Makodi.
Joining me now is an agricultural expert and entrepreneur, John Akirile. John, it's good to have you join me right now.
Thank you for having me.
Now, agriculture is one would say is the longest occupation where people learn from generation to generation how to plant seeds, how to understand the season and all of that. Yeah. We've seen that with our fathers and grandfathers and so on. But in the modern age, certainly people are talking about a new approach. How much of a new approach can impact agriculture, from the way people know it for subsistence farming and so on?
I think the point where we have issue is at documentation.
Okay.
Looking at old practices, there were no documentations as to this is how to know when to plant, this is how to plant, this is when to harvest, this is... So all of that now coming into this time around, we are not having, let me say, a pool of knowledge or a database where we can actually tap from to educate young and new farmers.
And especially when it's not being scientifically, or you don't approach it scientifically.
Yes.
Yeah.
So these are the challenges. But going forward, I think we can always work on that and look for a platform to train people, and ICT is the solution to that. So you can disseminate information timely, accurate information, and then you can educate and train farmers across board using your ICT. And in fact, you look at it, it will reduce cost of transaction and then maximize profit.
There's still much talk about the issue of agriculture not being approached as a business. Agriculture is a mega business by itself, and private sectors know what it is, but one wonders why there is no influx of companies, influx of all of these investors into agriculture.
I think I would say it's a personal will or political will, so to say. Because for agriculture is in different form. For factories and industries, they produce raw materials. So if for every good-minded businessman who understands business and understand the place of raw materials in their production line would know that agriculture is the place to put in their funds so that they can have constant flow of raw materials for their production, and they will keep being in business. So if the business owners or investors see it from this angle that I've said now, they will see more reason why they should bring in funds and invest more in agriculture.
Let me narrow it down to, say, cassava farm or yam farm or any of this. What will ICT do for a cassava farmer, for instance?
Okay, what ICT will do for a cassava farm, one is it can help you calculate the size of your farm, and so you can have an estimate in your head as to what can be planted, as to the yield you get from the particular...
And what the output can be.
And what the output can be. So with that, you have an estimate, unlike waiting till the end of the harvest year for you to have an estimate of what you're looking at. So ICT can help you do that. That's one. Two, ICT can help you know the latest trend of planting. In case there are disease or infestation on your farmland, ICT can help you through videos to see other farmers in other clans and how they are able to come out of this problem you are facing presently. Because when you are facing as a farmer, some farmers somewhere have faced that same problem and they've been able to overcome it. So ICT will help you bring in those knowledge all across board and territories, bring to you at your own rural settlement. You look at it, you see it, and then you do the same thing for yourself. So ICT has a lot of role to play in agriculture. You understand? Apart from training, apart from giving timely information to farmers, it also helps to expose them to the market out there.
All right. Now, the challenge there is the knowledge, the literacy of farmers in Nigeria to a great extent, because there's a talk about many farmers being illiterate. So they don't know the basic reading and writing, how much more the issue of computers and so on.
And that is why education is really, really important.
Okay.
So
so it's going to be a long-term really approach to it. All right. We have to leave it here now, John Akirele. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. You're watching TVC Breakfast. Experts in the agricultural sector are calling on the federal government to include information and communication technology in agricultural practices.
They believe this will open up avenues for employment in the sector. Mayowa Okwato reports.
Information is key ingredient in agriculture. For decades, farmers have depended on traditional means of gathering information they need.
They normally detect when the breeze, even if they are not learned, when the breeze started blowing from the north to the south, they say, rain is about. And immediately rainfall, they will go in and then till the soil.
Information and communication technology in agriculture, also known as e-agriculture, focuses on the enhancement through improved information and communication processes. This orange farmer believes ICT would be a crucial addition to tending his orchard.
Like me, there's no information, no sensitization. I just started on my orange farm on my own, because I grew up where there was people that was producing orange. So then I see how they have been getting money. From there, I also copy from them.
ICT includes devices, networks, mobile services, and applications. These applications are made to compile, curate, validate, and disseminate information to the farmers. A professor of Agric Extension and Development Communication speaks on the need to train farmers on how to use information and communication technology for production.
We have insufficient number of extension agents to liaise with farmers. 2, farmer training is virtually non-existent, except in a few states they are trying. You know, I know Kano used to try, Kaduna tried before, but I think they all collapsed now.
He also believes there is need to compile this data through a farmer-friendly medium.
Even in the language they understand. If you're demonstrating, take this one and put on top of this, you say it in the native language you understand.
E-agriculture interventions have been developed and tested around the world to help agriculturists improve their livelihood through increased agricultural productivity and income. And it is expected that Nigeria as well adopt this method. Mayowa Okwato, TVC News, Makurdi.
From Makurdi to Lagos now, let's talk more about innovations in agriculture. We have an entrepreneur and an expert in the business, John Akirile. Thank you, John, for joining us again.
Thank you for having me.
All right, but a critical challenge in Nigeria at the moment where farming is concerned is clashes with herdsmen. Do we have possibilities now with ICT? Is there any hope that ICT will perhaps, help at all in quelling these concerns?
Yes, ICT can help to quell the concerns because 2 people are involved and there's an issue of discord, and that issue must be analyzed. Now, ICT will help in disseminating the right information at the right time. In case of an attack on a farm, with the use of drones, you can get to know who attacked the farm, the time they attacked the farm, the duration, and the path at which they use to come in and also to escape. So ICT has a lot of role to play in mitigating all of this issue.
But this is a potential or a possibility. Is it something that we have seen? Is there an example we can point at the moment?
There are other countries that have actually done this and they are out. If you look at Japan, you look at China, these are countries that we're having issues before now, but with the advent of ICT and incorporating that into the agricultural sector, you see that it brought about tremendous growth, it brought about increase in productivity, it brought about creation of jobs and employment for their population, and you see that there's no fight anywhere. So if Nigeria also go in that line and direction and the government invests in ICT with agriculture, you are sure that all of these things are issues that can be resolved amicably.
And it's also basic that the issues of diseases affecting harvest, for example, now blights in crops and all that could also be tackled if ICT is inculcated into farming practices.
It can be tackled. Let's take, for instance, if you are a maize farmer and you notice that a leaf is having a yellowish color, you can take a picture of that and send to somebody who will look at and analyze what is happening to your crop and what you can do to solve that problem. So ICT has a lot of potential and a lot of importance that will add to agriculture for us as a people.
But quickly, how do you surmount the challenges? Literacy remains an issue. The spread of ICT penetration too. How do you surmount these challenges, for the average farmer? You have the advantage of, being educated.
That's very simple. Like now we have area of network of young people all across the length and breadth of this country in terms of NYSC who are serving. So the government can tap into that and deploy these people as ICT personnel to the rural areas where they can educate farmers and then train them on what they need to do and also help them set up their own ICT structures in their locality and teaching them all of these things in their local dialect. With that, you see that somebody in the rural area who speaks his or her own dialect can communicate with another person in another place through the use of ICT.
Fantastic, John Akirele. I mean, there's so much potential. I see the passion and the drive. You've also said that the farmers have the zeal to learn, to learn more. John Akirele there, thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me.